Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Warriors Path CrossFit podcast. Today, in this bonus episode, we are talking about GPP programming for teens. GPP means General Physical Preparedness, and we are talking specifically about teens who are training for sport. My name is Chris Perry Tedesco. I'm a CrossFit Level 3 trainer. That is one of the highest coaching credentials in CrossFit. I also hold several specialty certifications, including the CrossFit Kids Credential, which focuses primarily on coaching children and teens. Along with that, I am a National Board Certified Health and Wellness Coach, and I also hold advanced certifications in nutrition. So when I look at athletes, when I look at coaching teen athletes, I'm not just thinking about workouts. I am also thinking about recovery, sleep, hydration, stress management, and all of those things. And I really, truly believe that it's all connected. In addition, continuing education is a big part of my belief system. So I am continuously aiming to sharpen my skills. Okay, so the big topic of the day. A CrossFit teen program, or otherwise known as a GPP program for teens. The misconception when kids play sports is that if the kid's playing sport, they are becoming a well-rounded athlete, and in some cases that may be accurate. However, oftentimes when kids are training for sport, they are practicing that sport or specific drills and skills that directly correlate to that sport. So for example, if you're playing baseball, you might practice throwing, or if you play soccer, you might be running and cutting and things like that. And all of those are skill practices, which are great for the sport-specific training. But it's not quite the same as building total body strength, balance, coordination, and all of the other adaptations that occur from a GPP program. When kids specialize, meaning one sport, they repeat the same movement patterns over and over again, and sometimes that can lead to overuse injuries. So with a GPP program, it kind of fills in the gaps. And at its core, it's CrossFit. CrossFit is constantly varied functional movement performed at a high intensity. That high intensity is relative to the individual. So we squat, we hinge, we push, we pull, we carry, jump, all those things. We do running, rowing, biking, lots of cardio things. We do them in many different combinations, also including weightlifting. But we scale it to the athlete that we're working with. So for a teen program, the focus is simple. We talk about mechanics, consistency, and then intensity. So that means we move well first, then we move well often, and then we move well often with intensity. So sometimes that might mean faster, or sometimes that might mean heavier or longer, or whatever the case may be. But it's always in that order: mechanics, consistency, intensity. Our program will look something like this. So we have a basic warm-up. So we're just getting moving, we're priming our body, and we're getting the blood flowing, heart pumping, and all of that. But basically that's designed more for the coach to evaluate how well people are moving. And then we narrow in on a specific movement, maybe something that we will do later on in a particular planned workout. Maybe like squatting or jumping, pushing, pressing, things like that. Then we refine those movements. So we revisit them again and we talk about points of performance. We try to refine those points of performance so you're moving better and better. And then we build strength, or we build power in a more controlled way. Following that, we will do a conditioning piece It'll be on the shorter side likely, especially in the beginning, but we always make sure that skill is our primary objective. We also want to build in some confidence. So it's coached, it's intentional, it's structured. But here's why it matters a lot for teens specifically who are playing other sports. Their bodies are changing quickly. They are going through growth spurts. Sometimes their limbs are just longer than they were last week, and that affects their coordination. Sometimes they all of a sudden have a burst of strength where if they have this strength increase faster than they're used to controlling, sometimes that can lead to a potential injury. Also factor in kids are comparing themselves to each other, so they have this pressure to perform. And as you can see how that might also be a cause for things not going as well as planned. So in a strength and conditioning program that is structured, it's designed to build joint strength, improve balance, teach how to jump and land safely, strengthen areas of the body like the posterior chain or the backside of the body. It also teaches points of performance in lifting weights correctly. And most importantly, or at least in a GPP perspective, it teaches how to train. It teaches you ways to move and move for life. And it also introduces fun aspects of training, so it's not only sport-specific training. It's not replacing their sport, and it's not replacing the sport-specific training. It's just designed to support that training by moving in better movement patterns, learning how to recover better, and just basically being overall more healthy in general, joints, ligaments, and all of that. So right now we're planning a preseason phase with 2 days per week, 45-minute sessions per meet. And we're going to begin with a intro phase or an intro period, which will likely be between 3 and 4 sessions. So basically that first 2 weeks of the season. Then during those first 2 weeks, we will also test 3 things. The first one will be broad jump. That is testing, how far someone can jump with their power in their legs. The next test would be a seated med ball toss. So that's eliminating the lower half of the body to test the ability to throw an object and how far they can throw it. And then the third test will be a short metcon, which means metabolic conditioning. And that's just designed to have a starting point of what their work capacity is. And then we'll train for about 12 weeks, including those two. I think it's a 24-week cycle we have, or 24-session cycle that we have planned. We will retest those 3 things at or near the end of that preseason session. So we're looking for this to run from the beginning of March all the way up to June. And if that isn't correlated exactly the right timeline with the soccer season, then we can always extend it in the end if we choose to do so. And I just thought of a couple basic FAQs that you might have. And the first one is strength training safe for teens? And my answer would be yes, strength training is safe for teens when being watched by a coach or coached by someone who is not allowing them to just put weight on the bar or use heavy loads that are not appropriate for them. Next question I thought might be, will they be maxing out with heavy weights? And the answer is no. The focus is more about quality of movement and steady progress. If you have any other questions, feel free to reach out and ask me. But in closing, I'll just finish up by saying that we are not putting this program together to add more workouts on the calendar. What our primary focus is reducing the risk of injuries, improving mental resilience, supporting a physical, healthy body, and creating confident young adults or young people who will hopefully go on to continue having a love for fitness and sport, and therefore being an overall healthy person. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. You can get me via email, warriorspathcrossfit@gmail.com, or you can certainly text or call me. My phone number is on the business card. If you are local to Andover, New Jersey, and this sounds like something your teen would benefit from, I'd love to meet you and talk about it. If you are looking in general to improve your happiness, health, fitness, or anything like that, find a CrossFit gym near you. If you are near Andover, New Jersey, we are here for you. You will meet a group of people who are like-minded, who want the best for themselves and for each other, and we help each other become the best version of ourselves. So with that, thanks for listening, and have a great day.